Welcome to Fun Facts Online. Today we're dissecting a term you often hear in the news, but whose consequences run deeper than any headline: the government shutdown. It's more than just political drama. It's an economic earthquake with aftershocks that rattle every corner of a nation's economy. So, what really happens when the government turns off the lights? At its core, a government shutdown is a failure to pass a budget. In the United States, a law called the Anti-Deficiency Act forbids federal agencies from spending money that Congress hasn't approved. When lawmakers can't agree on a funding bill, this law kicks in, and a cascade of consequences begins. The first and most visible step is furloughing non-essential federal employees. While services deemed essential, like national security or air traffic control, continue, a huge part of the federal workforce is sent home without pay. This means national parks lock their gates, passport applications get stuck in a pile, and vital scientific research grinds to a halt. But these closures are just the tip of the iceberg. The most direct economic blow is a hit to the gross domestic product, or GDP. Think of it this way. Every federal worker sent home isn't producing anything, which is a direct loss of productivity. On top of that, the government itself stops buying goods and services from private companies, which puts a drag on demand across the board. The numbers are startling. Economists at firms like S&P Global, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs all estimate that each week of a government shutdown shaves between 0.1 to 0.2 percentage points off GDP growth. To put that in context, during the 16-day shutdown in 2013, the Bureau of Economic Analysis calculated a direct hit of 0.3 percentage points to GDP in that quarter. Now, you might think that once the government reopens and workers get their back pay, everything just snaps back to normal. But that's not entirely true. A significant portion of the economic loss is permanent. The Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, estimated that the record-breaking 35-day shutdown in 2018 and 2019 caused a permanent loss of about $3 billion to the U.S. economy. Why is it permanent? A restaurant near a closed national park will never get back the money from tourists who couldn't visit. Scientific research that was paused can't simply be fast-forwarded to make up for lost time. That lost activity is gone forever. Behind these macroeconomic numbers is the very real human cost. During that 2018-2019 shutdown, about 380,000 federal workers were furloughed, and another 420,000 were forced to work without pay. The CBO estimates a shutdown can idle as many as 750,000 employees a day, at a daily cost of roughly $400 million in lost wages. While Congress has historically approved back pay after a shutdown ends, the immediate financial crisis for these families is severe. Many live paycheck to paycheck. A sudden loss of income means missed rent or mortgage payments, credit card late fees, and the possibility of loan defaults. This uncertainty creates immense stress and forces families to slash their spending, which then ripples out and hurts their local economies. This brings us to the domino effect. The economic pain spreads far beyond government employees, hitting small businesses and government contractors especially hard. Small businesses in towns with a large federal presence are on the front lines. Restaurants, coffee shops, and retail stores that rely on the daily business of federal workers see their customer base evaporate overnight. They're forced to cut hours, lay off their own staff, or in the worst cases, shut down for good. The tourism industry is another major casualty. When national parks, monuments, and museums close, the gateway communities that depend on visitor spending are devastated. Hotels, tour operators, and local shops suffer a complete loss of business. The 2013 shutdown, which closed parks during a peak travel season, was a perfect example of this. Furthermore, the Small Business Administration is forced to halt its lending programs. This means entrepreneurs can't get the capital they need to start or grow, stifling innovation at the grassroots level. Then there are the government contractors. These are the private companies that provide everything from IT services to office supplies, to federal agencies. During a shutdown, their contracts are often suspended and payments are delayed. For a smaller contractor without deep financial reserves, this can trigger a severe cash flow crisis. They are then forced to furlough or lay off their own employees, adding more people to the unemployment rolls. The ripple effect isn't uniform. It hits some sectors harder than others. We've talked about tourism, but consider healthcare. The National Institutes of Health, or NIH, a primary engine of medical research, might be unable to admit new patients into clinical trials or award new research grants. This doesn't just delay research, it can slow the pace of medical innovation that benefits all of us. The transportation sector also feels the strain. While air traffic controllers are essential, a prolonged shutdown can lead to staffing shortages. If workers who aren't getting paid decide not to show up, it can cause major flight delays and airport slowdowns, which is exactly what started to happen near the end of the 2018-2019 shutdown. Then there's the data drought that hits the financial services industry. Key economic reports from agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Census Bureau are delayed. This leaves investors, businesses, and even the Federal Reserve flying blind. Without data on inflation or employment, it's incredibly difficult to make informed decisions about investments or monetary policy, leading to volatility in the markets. But perhaps the most damaging and long-lasting impact is the erosion of something intangible: confidence. When a government can't perform its most basic functions, it signals dysfunction and instability. This spooks everyone. Consumer confidence plummets. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index took a sharp dive during the 2018-2019 shutdown as financial uncertainty led people to pull back on spending. Business confidence also wanes. Facing so much uncertainty, companies delay big decisions on hiring new staff or investing in new projects. This wait-and-see approach puts a brake on economic growth. And on the world stage, a government shutdown damages a country's international standing. It can be seen as a sign of political instability and poor fiscal discipline, making foreign investors hesitant. This can weaken the currency and even raise the cost of borrowing for the entire country. Looking back at recent U.S. history, we can see the lessons clearly. The shutdowns in 1995 and 1996, the 16-day shutdown in 2013 over healthcare funding, and the record 35-day shutdown in 2018-2019 all show a consistent pattern of economic harm. They prove that even short shutdowns have a real cost, and prolonged ones cause permanent damage. In the end, a government shutdown is a self-inflicted economic wound. It's the painful result of political gridlock, with real consequences for people, businesses, and the national economy. The impact starts with a hit to GDP and financial hardship for federal workers, but it quickly spreads, toppling small businesses, disrupting major industries, and corroding the confidence that fuels a healthy economy. It serves as a stark reminder that the smooth functioning of government isn't just a political ideal, it's an economic imperative. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online.